to Elizabeth's Craft Room. Today we're going to do a card using the Beautiful Moments stamps. They are just stunning. I love the style of these. We've also got A Good Man and Beautiful You, which are in this style. So you will find some images that you love out of the three of those, I guarantee you. I'm going to use some watercolour pencils. You can see I've got lots here. We've got a large set and a smaller set in our big catalogue. So we're going to use those. And I'm going to do this card here today. So we're going to start with the StazOn ink. I'm using the black StazOn, and I'm using a piece of shimmery white cardstock. Now I don't know whether you can see the shimmer. It's so dark and dull here today while I'm filming. You may not be able to see that shimmer, but the main thing about it is it's more robust than a Whisper White or a Very Vanilla, but still nice and smooth for stamping, but it will hold up to water a lot better, and it's more economical than using a watercolour paper. But we use StazOn because then the image stays solid and doesn't bleed when we add water. So let's stamp our lady on. And while I'm doing it, I also have a little circle here, also in the that shimmery white paper. So I'll stamp that one at the same time and pop that to one side. The other piece that I need to stamp is the background, and once again I have done that in a shimmery white. This is the image I'm using there for the background, which is like a kind of a mountainy bit, but if you don't want a mountain, if you want it flat, you can just kind of use that piece there, but I'm quite happy to have like a mountain image. So let's ink that up. Oops. Box is very tight on that StazOn, as it should be, because then it doesn't dry out. Right, okay, so let's pop this in here, and I have actually got a little bit of extra there that I didn't want. That's what we call an embellishment opportunity. Luckily all of our paper is double-sided. So I'm just going to use a little bit there. Okay. And now we're going to start adding some colour. So I'm going to start off with this one, which is Daffodil Delight, and we're going to do a wheat field here. So I'm going to add my wheat. I'm not sure where that piece in the middle is going to be hidden. I'm going to add a little bit of that, and then I'm going to take an aqua painter. It's always good to have a tissue handy as well. You don't get too much water, but just make sure that that is wet, and that will blend all of the lines from the pencil out and make me look like much more of an artist than I really am. Okay, and then to clean it, you just give it a little squeeze onto the tissue. Now let's do some sky above. I'm going to use for that the Bermuda Bay. Yeah, I think I will go for the Bermuda Bay. We want this to be just very pale, so I'm not going to add a lot. I'll put a little bit of line on there. We've also got, which one's that? We've also got the Balmy Blue here, so I'm going to add a bit of Balmy Blue to the sky as well. And then again go in and just wet that down just a little bit. Now of course you could go ahead and fill that all into the top, but I just want to have the horizon coloured rather than the whole thing. I just noticed as well that I added some birds on there, so let's pop them onto a block as well. And I'll just pop those up there. There we go. Okay, So that's that piece there. Now let's do our lady and our wheat. Now it could be wheat, could be wheat field, and as I've done this piece I probably am going to do that, but it can also you can do that as lavender, as I've done on this one, so you can do it as lavender. I'm going to go ahead and go back in with my yellow pieces and put some in that are quite strong up where the ears of the wheat are. And on this little piece as well. The nice thing about the watercolour pencils is that they are really forgiving when you blend them. It's not a difficult thing to blend them and have them looking nice. So now I'm going to add some Bermuda Bay on, and I'm putting it quite heavily where her dress is gathered there in the middle, and a little bit down here where this bit's gathered. And then taking my aqua painter again, I'm going to blend out now. I'm doing this for the camera and I haven't got my heat gun handy, but if you were going to be really careful about this, you would probably take a heat gun and heat it in between the colours, because you've got to be a little bit careful how you're blending when you've got the two colours right next to each other. Now for her hair, I'm going to do a little bit of Cajun and a little bit of espresso. So just a little bit of espresso there, and then in with the Cajun craze colour as well. This time I think I will use a blender pen. So this is the other way, or another way of blending the watercolour pencils, and it gives you a lot of control on how you're doing that. So if you need to get into little tiny places, and again these you can clean up by just giving them a little scribble. Now I don't really have a skin tone. I think this one is Flirty Flamingo, but I'm putting a tiny bit of that on, and then also some white in with it, and I'm going to blend that out again with the blender pen. A little bit of colour on her arms. You don't want to overdo it, otherwise it looks like she didn't put her factor 20 on. So you've got to be a little bit careful about how much you do. Right, so to assemble this project, I'm going to take the background piece here and use the 1.5 inch circle punch and take my layered circle out of that. This is called gutting. And if you're not doing this at home, you should be doing this because it saves you some cardstock. I always teach this in my classes, but then that will save you some cardstock at home for punching out, because that piece behind is going to be hidden. And then we'll pop a little bit of Tombow glue on there. And I'm going to use some dimensionals to pop this layer up. And the layer colour I'm using is basic grey on here. Let's pop her just on there. And then I'm going to put some Tombow glue underneath this piece here, and then just kind of feed it in underneath. So you can have that where you'd like it to be, position that where you'd like it. Now the greeting I am doing with some really nice stamps. These are called Label Me Bold, and I love them because they're all on little rectangles, so they're really easy to cut out. And really good if you haven't got lots of punches or dies. This is a really good one to use. So I'm going to do the little For You here, and I'm stamping this in Gorgeous Grape. I noticed actually on my previous one I didn't. I think I stamped that in Highland Heather. Let's do that instead. Let's see which one we like better. So clean that off a little bit. Here we go. Let's try that again. I don't know. Which do you like better? I think I'm going to stick with the Highland Heather because I've got Highland Heather cardstock for the base card. I'll show you how easy it is to do these because of course you just cut straight around them. Really nice and easy. And if you want to layer that up onto a layer, which we're going to here with another little bit of basic grey, it's the same thing again. You're just going to use those straight lines and just cut evenly around the edge. Okay, a little bit of blue trying to pop out there. Right, so we will pop that onto the corner there. Put that out on dimensionals or just leave that flat. And then our base card, which as I said is in the Highland Heather colour, and we're going to glue that in place like that. So there we go. That is Magical Moments. What do you think? Maybe we should have done the whole of the background card in the darker one, in that gorgeous grey. Tell me what you think. But I hope you enjoy playing with one of our beautiful stamp sets. And if you haven't had your watercolour pencils out for a while, now is the time. Thanks for visiting Elizabeth's Craft Room today, and I look forward to welcoming you back again soon.